Your phone is ringing. You look at the screen. You see the name. And instead of answering, you wait. You hope the call will stop. Maybe you tell yourself you'll call back later. But deep down, you know you probably won't. If this sounds familiar, you're far from alone. Millions of people feel uncomfortable answering phone calls. Some ignore them. Some let them ring. Some even feel a small wave of anxiety the moment their phone starts ringing. But here's the interesting question. Why? Why would someone avoid something as simple as answering a call? According to psychology, people who avoid phone calls often share several surprising traits. And once you understand them, this behavior starts to make a lot more sense. Let's begin with the first reason. Control. When you send a text message, you control the conversation. You can think before replying. You can edit your words. You can respond minutes or even hours later. There is no pressure. But phone calls remove that control completely. Someone asks a question, and you must respond immediately. For many people, that creates stress. Their brain suddenly feels rushed. What should I say? How should I respond? Did that sound weird? Texting gives the brain time to organize thoughts. Phone calls force the brain to react instantly. And for thoughtful or analytical personalities, that can feel overwhelming. The second reason is something psychologists call social energy. Every conversation uses mental energy. But phone calls require much more attention than texting. During a call, you must listen carefully, respond immediately, and keep the conversation flowing. At the same time, your brain is trying to understand tone, mood, and meaning without seeing the other person's face. This makes the brain work even harder. For people who are more introverted or mentally sensitive, this can feel exhausting. So avoiding calls becomes a way to protect their energy. The third reason is uncertainty. When someone sends a message, you can read it before responding. You know what the conversation will be about. But when someone calls, you have no idea what they want. It could be a quick question, or a long conversation, or bad news. The human brain naturally dislikes uncertainty. So when the phone rings, many people hesitate. Their brain starts asking questions. Do I have the energy for this right now? What if this turns into a long conversation? What if something is wrong? Instead of answering, they wait. They hope the caller will send a message instead. The fourth reason is something that has changed dramatically in the last decade. The way we communicate. Messaging apps, social media, and voice notes have become the new normal. Many people now spend most of their conversations typing instead of speaking. Because of this shift, phone calls can feel strangely intense, sometimes even intrusive. A text message feels polite. It respects someone's time. A phone call demands immediate attention. And for many people, that feels uncomfortable. The fifth reason is something called communication anxiety. Phone calls remove something very important. Visual feedback. When you talk face-to-face, you can see reactions. You see smiles, you see confusion, you see understanding. But during a phone call, those signals disappear. Your brain cannot see how the other person is reacting. So it starts guessing. Did that sound strange? Did they misunderstand me? Should I say something else? For some people, this creates pressure. And the easiest solution is simple. Avoid the call. There is also another small but powerful reason: time commitment. When someone sends a message, the interaction might take 5 seconds. But when someone calls, it could last 20 minutes or longer. So when people see their phone ringing, their brain quickly calculates something. Do I have the time for this conversation right now? If the answer is no, they let it ring. But here is something important. Avoiding phone calls does not mean someone is antisocial. In fact, many people who dislike phone calls are excellent communicators. They simply prefer communication that allows them to think clearly. Text messages give them space to organize their thoughts, and sometimes that leads to deeper conversations, more thoughtful responses, and fewer misunderstandings. In other words, their brain simply prefers a slower form of communication. And in today's digital world, that preference is becoming more common every year. But occasionally, answering the call can still be powerful, because behind every ringing phone is another human being trying to reach you, trying to talk, trying to connect. And sometimes, the most meaningful conversations happen when you simply pick up the phone and say one small word. Hello.